This is how I transcribe things. Here's this little app right here.
So we've built this for a while, but
This is my
because
clip.
API calls are basically free.
Watch up here. Watch up here on the desktop. There's my audio. There's my text transcription. There's my subtitle file. That's it. What is up, guys? I am Guy Swan, and we are getting into a productivity trick with AI. We are going to have free unlimited transcription. I set this up just a couple of days ago, and a bunch of people asked me about it. I'm using a handful of tools with this. So this is a combination of Whisper, and there is specifically a C++ version of Whisper that someone has built. And then I'm using FFmpeg to do conversions. And I use ChatGPT in order to build the little app that you saw. And I used Midjourney, or you can use Stable Diffusion. Automatic 1111 is another one that I use all the time. But Midjourney was just quicker in this instance because I had it open. And made an icon really quick for it so that all of this is as seamless as the intro video that you saw. So let's go ahead and get into it. So to start off with, this is Whisper.cpp. So this is the link, and you'll see that down in the description. Don't forget to subscribe, by the way, if you want to stay up to date on this, because I have a whole list of these that I'm going to be doing. This is just our first one. So easiest way to get Whisper.cpp, and the great thing about this is you don't have to install Python and all of that stuff. This is just a standalone thing. This Whisper C++ version, there's a bunch of different things you can do this, but we're installing this on Mac, and the little app that I have, this available. In fact, I'm just selling it for a few sats. Obviously, you can recreate this just like I do it in the video here. But if you want to save yourself some time, 2100 sats is like a 60 cent, I don't know, something like that. If you have a Mac and you put this in your home folder, this should work. All you have to do is change the path to Whisper. But getting a little bit ahead of myself. So let's go into the GitHub page, the link down in the description, and we are going to, the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to clone this app onto our computer. Now there's a couple of different things you need. If you do not have Git on your computer, then you can do brew install Git, and that will search it out and find it. If you do this, you can just see we've got a bunch of different options, but Git right here is what you're going to install. But I already have Git. Now, if you don't have brew, you're going to need to install that. And that is where I will have this link, and you can basically just use this command, I believe. It's been a long time since I've installed brew. There are descriptions and instructions on how to do that here. So I'll just leave that for anybody who doesn't have brew, but we're not going to go quite that deep. So we're going to assume you have brew and you have Git, because that's going to make this about as simple as it gets. So right now I am in my home folder. I'm in my user guy folder. And we are going to clear this. We're going to do git clone, whoops, and we are going to just copy this right here, paste, and boom. Now we are cloning everything here. Now, if you see, now we have Whisper.cpp right here in our home folder, and you can see this in your actual folder. This is right here. So this is where we are going to have our app, but we don't have the thing that's going to actually let us transcribe because we haven't made it yet. So we're going to cd into Whisper, and here we are. We're inside the app, or inside the folder, and we're going to hit make. I don't think I have the model yet. Where are we? Aha, here we go. So we are going to bash download our model, and this is the base model in English. And say ls, so we've got that. Bash, install our models. So this is in our folder, right? So this is when we're in the Whisper.cpp folder, this is going to put it into the models, download, blah, blah, blah. And now we have .main, whoops, /help, and here's our app. So this is Whisper. And if you're using it by the terminal, which if you're comfortable with the terminal, that's great. This might seem a little bit intimidating, but after you set this up, obviously, as you saw at the beginning of the video, we can just drag and drop this. But here is our all of our different instructions and the different things that we can do, like our options. Like you'll notice in the video at the beginning that we output in a text file and we output in a subtitle file. We just used those commands. So what we did here is we went otxt -osrt, and then I want to drag and drop. This is our audiogram, so this is just a little.
So we built this for a while, but because API calls are basically free, there really wasn't a good match for it.
Cody, which was really fascinating stuff about why Bitcoin and Lightning, I think, is going to be critical to this entire ecosystem, and Cody just like lays out a really fantastic argument. But let's say this is a video file, right? This is MP4. So if I try to drop this in here, this is normally how I would do it, except that, oh, we got an error. This is not a WAV file. And in fact, not only does it have to be a WAV file, but specifically it needs to be 16 kilohertz. So that's a bit of a, if you go to like a normal audio encoding or conversion thing, a lot of times you don't have that option. It doesn't really give you that much specificity, but that's where we get into FFmpeg. So we're going to do brew install FFmpeg, but I'm not going to do that because I already have it. So we go search FFmpeg. There's a lot going on there, but see, this is what we're installing, and after you do that, you will have FFmpeg. And you can do help. Where is, man, there's so much stuff in this. Can't even find it. Here we go. Here we go. Whew. So this is the entire help file for FFmpeg and all the different things you can do with it. This is like a universal video, audio, images. I use FFmpeg like crazy, but this is how we are going to convert or extract the audio specifically from this file. And we are going to convert it to a wave automatically, and then we are going to use that 16 kilohertz wave in order to feed it back into Whisper and print out the text transcription as well as the subtitle track. And the cool thing about having the subtitle track is if you're in like DaVinci Resolve or Final Cut, you can literally just drop that into your timeline, and then the video you just exported now has a subtitle track, and you can export it again with burned in subtitles. Do you want 100,000 sats for free? Of course you do. And that's why you're going to go to bitcoinaudible.com/fold and sign up for the free version of the debit card that gets you sats back on everything that you own, and they will just pay you 100,000 sats for that. And this is the only debit card that I have. This is the easiest way to just stack Bitcoin all the time just by doing the stuff you always do. If you're not doing this, you are really missing out. Check it out. So the next thing is we want an app. I don't want to use the terminal interface. I want to have this set up so that when I need my workflow, I can just drag and drop this. So this is actually the entire conversation I had with ChatGPT. So this is what we do is I use and I could have used GPT-4all, but ChatGPT in particular seems pretty good with this, and I've kind of gotten used to it. So this is a great way. I mean, this is how I use ChatGPT all the time, and it is such an awesome productivity saver. You can spend 30, 40 minutes on things that you have like with a workflow that you have like 4 or 5 different processes or files that you create or things that you name, like a naming convention or something, is that you can automate this so that something that takes you a minute every single time you set up a project, you can automate, double click, and it just spits out everything from essentially one process. So the transcription obviously is a great example here. So literally all I did is I know I'm going to be using Whisper. So, and in fact, a great way actually to give it everything it needs is to, let's go back up to the Whisper commands. So I can just say, here are all the commands and options for Whisper to transcribe audio. And now it's just going to know the options. So this is going to help, because I already asked it earlier on in this conversation. It's already, just stop generating. Calm down. To accomplish your task, transcribing audio and getting a text and SRT file, these are the two options to use. So it's going to read the help command, or the help list that I just gave it, and then tell me these are the commands that I need. And I literally just go through that. I say, so like, what would be the whisper command? And I say, how do I make an application? Whoops. And what's funny is that this even works if you kind of spell stuff wrong on Mac, so that I can drag and drop my audio or video file to then convert using FFmpeg, blah, 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 blah. So I just went through and have a couple of different steps here. I need to Automator. So here is the script, and it only took maybe 4 or 5 iterations to get this right. And it's really good specifically if you know your steps. So if you know, the first thing you're going to do is try to figure out if this is a video or an audio file. And if it's audio, check to see if it's the right format. If it's not, convert it. If it's video, export the audio to the right format, and then use it in Whisper. So after all of this, this is the Apple script, where it's going to use FFmpeg and everything to get the right format and the right 16 kilohertz. And then we are going to run Whisper here at the end, and it's going to do shell script guy Whisper.cpp. So the thing that you're going to need to make sure is right is this right here in your app. Your version of the app will need to be the location of wherever your Whisper is. So one easy way to do that is, so here's my Whisper.cpp. If you hold down the Alt option and right click, you can copy Whisper.cpp, take off the Alt, take it back on, copy as Pathname. So that is what we are going to do, and then we are going to paste right there. Obviously I just pasted the exact same thing as it was, but that is what you're going to have to update on your side in order to get it to work on your Mac. And then I just export this as transcribe to whatever. We're going to close Automator. And then the last thing that I like to do that's really fun, this is really the way to use a combination of AI tools. So we're using obviously the Whisper AI. We're using ChatGPT to write the script, because I'm not a developer. I can kind of look at stuff and get an idea of what it's doing, but I'm gonna have to ask ChatGPT a lot. But it's really great because it can. So we just can automate that entire process. So if we go to the get info, like we can right click and hit get info, or we can just do Command I like I did. Now we go to Discord, because I have Midjourney. And if you use Midjourney or Stable Diffusion, either one is fine. I just went with something really simple. So there's a couple of different options. So all I did is, imagine prompt, and then type in, simple icon, abstract icon, app logo. This is a great way to just kind of get simple stuff. And then whatever you're trying to do, this one was transcription, audio transcribe, dark background, empty square. And I wanted the empty square look because it's kind of invites a drag and drop here, even though I don't have that explicit in the instructions, or it's not like written in the app. But you can do that if you want to make sure that you don't forget that that's how you use it. We're going to delete all of this. But there were a couple of different options, and I wasn't particularly, none of this, I mean, this one's pretty cool. I like this one right here, but this one popped up after a couple of different iterations, and I liked it. So I threw this into GIMP, which is an open source video editor. It's kind of like version of Photoshop. I cut it out, and gave it a drop shadow with the alpha channel so that it was a logo. And if we want to see that, like, see, here's another one, a bulk transcribe. This was a Midjourney created logo. Stable diffusion. This is one that I have to automate to open up automatic 1111 with a couple of different settings that I already set in, so that just opens it the way that I want to open it. All you have to do it needs to be a PNG file in order to have the alpha channel. But where is pictures, icons, transcribe? So here's the actual icon, and you can see the shadow and everything I've got around it. And literally all you do is copy and then paste, and boom. And now Transcribe 2 has the exact same app. But obviously I don't need that. And I have moved my old version of Whisper into just a dead folder to put it back in case it doesn't work. But everything else should be right, so we're going to try it again. We're going to see if this all still works with the new install of Whisper. Or the new install of... Yep. There's our WAV file. There's our text. So we built this for a while, but because API calls are basically free. And then we have the subtitle file. Now, if we wanted to do this with a much larger video, and this is also the really cool thing, is that Whisper C++ is way more efficient. So if you get like the Python version, in fact, I ran the activity monitor just to see, it uses like 3 times the resources and takes 10 times as long. So the C++ version is definitely the better option for Mac, and probably until like something like Mojo comes out, which we'll probably have an episode about that. That will remain the case. But let's see. So this is the full video, 7 gigs. So this is the original render, just straight out of DaVinci. I'll just drop it right in, actually, from here. So this will show up in this folder. You'll see it here. So here's the video. Here's the audio that already extracted, and it will take a little while on the transcription. In fact, it'll probably take 4 or 5 minutes. So we'll just sit here and wait for a second. As you can see here, actually, main, this is Whisper right here, is using 660 megabytes, so about a gig of memory on this computer right now to do this transcription. Now, when I was running this on Python, this was running way slower, and I believe it was using 16 gigabytes. So again, like I said, running the original, the OpenAI version, the C++ version is going to be way, way better on resources and energy. All right, and there we go. That took a couple of minutes, but here is our text, and this is it. This is our transcription for the entire show, and this is broken down in tokens. So this is based on the amount of computation, like how it is broken down. And you can actually change those settings if you want to play around with it in Whisper. But the only reason I really want this is specifically to be able to search and find text in my episodes, so that I can go back, because so often I'm like, oh, in this episode I talked about this analogy or this one topic or something in one of my episodes, and then I just have no idea what it was. Was it, on Bitcoin Audible after some read about AI or, new technology or something? Was it on AI Unchained, etc.? And if I have these text files, well, then I can just search for those words and I can just dig through the whole video. It's as if I have the video as, well, I do. I have the video as text. And it's also helpful online. So if you post this on your website or anything like that, and then of course having subtitles for your video like that is not bad. So that should do it. If you have any questions, hit me up or drop it in the comments. I'll try to, maybe I'll do a follow-up if there's something major missing here that I wasn't realizing, because I've been using this for a little while, and it's easy to forget that there was some sort of dependency somewhere in the process. And if you want to download my Apple script, again, this will not work on Windows or Linux. I will probably make one for Linux, but my machine is a little bit out of commission right now. But I intend to do the same thing because I will be running all of this on Linux at some point in the not too distant future. You should now have drag and drop transcription for any audio or video file that will automatically convert, and yeah, you should be good to go. Free, unlimited transcription with the help of a couple of different AI tools, and we will have tons and tons of these little tricks coming in the future. So do not forget to subscribe and check me out. Check out Bitcoin Audible if you're interested in the Bitcoin thing. I go down that rabbit hole. Anything you want to learn about it, Bitcoin Audible is the place. And don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. We got way more to come. All right. Till next time, guys. Take it easy.